Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, Kelly Klass and Jill Skeen.
And good morning and welcome to Top Story, 7360300. Always the number to call. Hello, Jill.
Hello, Kelly.
Wow. That was a fast weekend.
I know it. Didn't feel like a holiday weekend. Of course, it wasn't because we worked Friday.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, yeah, we did.
And then you worked the Christmas in the nighttime sky.
Yes. And then Saturday morning had to take the equipment back. So, it
Oh,
was not a full weekend.
Oh, they're going to get a lot out of you before your last days, aren't they?
Yeah.
Poor Kelly's going to have to really work his last 30 days.
I know, which means I've got 30 days and 16 hours left.
But who's counting?
Tick, 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 tick,
You
tick,
could
tick,
actually
tick,
act
tick.
a little sad. That would be nice.
Okay, I'll act sad. Here we go.
Fake it.
Here we go.
Yeah, clearly. There you go.
That's me acting sad. Okay.
All
Anyway.
right, fine.
Anyway.
Fine. Well, maybe we won't miss you anyway then. Fine.
7360300 is the number to call, and welcome on this Monday morning. Now that everybody is back to work and we're kind of back to a normal schedule now. So, by the way, if you are traveling on Interstate 84 near milepost 179, the eastbound lanes are blocked. The Idaho State Police are at the scene of a crash on I-84, milepost 179, east of the Twin Falls Exchange. The eastbound lanes are currently blocked, and they'll have more information when it's available.
Wow.
So there you go.
I like how you said if you're currently traveling, you won't be currently traveling, you will be stuck.
That's right. I know.
Aye.
So just saying, if you normally head that way to work or something like that, you could be blocked. Take an alternate route.
You will be, yeah.
We have coming up this morning Randy Staples with the Idaho Political Update, and then at 9:20, one of my favorite guests is Chris Anderson.
Of all time.
From the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium. He's always got some fun and interesting things to talk about.
He does.
I'm gonna take this call because it might be somebody on the interstate.
I know.
So I'm gonna take it, and
Good
we'll see what happens.
morning.
Top Story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. Listen, I'm calling to complain
Already?
What's that?
bitterly about the situation in Ferguson, Missouri.
Okay.
I got to tell you that
You're not gonna walk out of work at 11 o'clock?
Justice was done back there. Justice was done, and to have anything different than what that grand jury decided would be a miscarriage of justice. The guy was a thug, and he has. There was a black officer would have shot him just as readily as that poor officer that shot this guy. So I think we've had enough of this, and I love Martin Luther King's word. When we can judge a man by the content of his character and not by the color of his skin. And this whole thing has taken the exact opposite situation.
Well,
Agreed.
What's happening in Missouri has been a long time coming, and unfortunately, they haven't been judged on the content of their character. They've had problems for years and years and years, and this is the tipping point. And so,
the thing of it is, it's a good part of the people in Ferguson, Missouri, who are doing the rioting. They do not want justice. They want revenge. And you're right, they wouldn't have stopped. They would have rioted no matter what the outcome.
well, we don't know that, do
They
we?
had made up their minds that they were going to riot because it was good excuse for a party. That's the way a lot of people think nowadays. And this doesn't surprise me. And now at 11 o'clock, they're calling, it would be 11 o'clock our time, they're calling for people across the country to walk off your jobs and walk out of school and just walk away in protest of the police brutality. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that police brutality doesn't occur because we see it a lot. But in this particular case, the grand jury made the decision that there was no reason to indict the officer. So if you go for if you go ahead and indict him anyway, then you are going against the American justice system. But as I said, many of the people who were rioting in Ferguson, Missouri, they did not want justice. They wanted revenge, and now that's what they're doing.
Well, you know what? There's whatever. I mean, if that's what you want to go off and talk about today, fine. But I think, we are entitled to protest in this country. There were a lot of things in that case, and honestly, they've had a history of problems in that state. And if you look at the list...
You can't blame that one officer for the whole history of the state because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, there's a lot of questions back and forth about, what happened in the grand jury. And it's interesting because when the grand jury in Texas indicted Governor Perry on 2 counts, everyone was like, oh, the grand jury's political, this and that. Well, you know what? The grand jury did their job there too, but somehow that's political. This isn't.
But it's stuck.
What is the difference?
It's still stuck. They're indicting him, so that's the way it works.
Well, this would have indicted too. All they needed was probable cause to move forward. You know what? If you look up how many young black men have been killed where no one's been indicted, there's numbers and numbers and cases and cases. And you know what? It's the tipping point.
That doesn't mean that it wasn't justified.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of discrepancy on whether it was justified or not. So, and even how it was presented to the grand jury.
See, you criticize us for not liking a grand jury decision, but we accept it. So now you're doing the same thing.
You didn't accept it at the time. You said it was political. It's just political. Poor Governor Perry.
We had no choice but to accept it.
People called in. He's a hero. Give me a break.
And now this has happened, so you're going to have to accept it.
Well, I'm not protesting, am I? Am I walking out 11? What I think is there's a bigger conversation going, and there's a big problem in Missouri, and there's a big problem across this country. Look up the statistics. Look up the cases that are happening. You know what? And there's a problem going on. So deal with it. But for the prosecutor to announce it at 8:15, 9:15 at night,
now
it's
we're
almost
picking
like
it apart. If
it's almost
like
like he wanted this to happen, so there's no discussion about the case because he knew people were going to react like this.
Now they're going to pick it apart. It's always somebody else's fault. They should have just hung the policeman and everybody would have been happy then.
Well, I don't agree with what the grand jury decided. I don't know how an unarmed person could be shot 6 or 7 times and there's no trial on it. It's just probable cause to go to trial. How could you not go to trial and then hear both sides? I mean, I can understand why the parents are upset. I can understand if that were my kid.
As Grant Loeb said, that's not what it's for. It's designed to see if there are any charges that can realistically be brought against the officer.
Right, probable
cause. And
apparently
there wasn't.
Well.
So, accept it. 736-0300.
You have to, but you don't have to like it.
Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on the interstate. I've been here since like 6:15.
Oh, no.
And it's still closed. So
I'm
the favorite driver that drives from Boise to Burley every day at 2 a.m. So,
oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
so they had Lifeline out here, and then they had something else going on. So.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, we hope you get moving soon.
Thanks for listening.
I get paid by the hour, so
there you
I'm
go.
in no hurry.
There you go. Okay.
Well, be safe out there.
Thanks for the call. Wow. I don't know what has happened out there, but it does seem like sometimes they delay opening it longer than they could. I mean, if they were just to move something, but they want to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. It just seems like sometimes they delay that.
So that guy's been sitting since 6 o'clock, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Whoa.
We got more calls. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Well, I can't believe we're still talking about Ferguson here.
Hey, someone else started it. We were going to talk about other stuff. Don't blame it on us.
Yeah. I was just reading the grand jury report here, parts of it last night, and, the only thing I've got to say, yeah, there are problems, but, if his head is inside the cop's door and they found his blood inside of the policeman's car and he was shot in the hand and at close range, and that, witnesses did say, black and white witnesses, mostly black from what I understand, that he was inside of the patrol officer's car, and there was a tussle going on. And whether he was grabbing his gun or not, we'll never know. Also, the other thing,
at that point, it wouldn't make any difference. I wouldn't think he's attacking a cop inside the cop car for crying out loud. Exactly. If you do that, you risk the chance of getting killed.
But you
Anybody does.
also had the eyewitness with him who said the cop grabbed him and pulled him in.
Bill,
So
let me tell you something about the eyewitness with him. He had already been charged once before, previously, for lying to the police and getting caught lying about being a witness to another crime. So you can't put any relevance on what he said. The other thing is, they tested his blood. They tested Michael Brown's blood, and it had a high content of marijuana in it, which meant he was high. He was not acting in his right mind. And so this thing, they portray him to be an angel, a young
going off to college,
guy.
The poor little boy. He's a
He was
thug.
high on marijuana.
did he deserve to be killed?
If
he's running away from the car.
He attacked a
He
cop.
was not running away. He was running towards the officer. The grand jury report and the autopsy report prove that he was shot in the front, not in the back like all you liberals are trying to say. It's just not true. He was shot in the front.
But
So
he
you
was
gotta
also 153 feet away. How do you think he got there in 90 seconds?
When he was shot,
He
was he?
ordered him to stop. When a police officer tells you to stop, you stop. But if a man lowers his head and is growling and running like a madman because he's high on marijuana, you have no other choice. I mean, you've got to admit, that's the facts are the facts. The liberal press and people like you try to change it, but the facts are the facts.
Well, you know what? I remember when the conservative media came out and said that his eye socket was bashed in, which wasn't true, and passed around a photo of another person in a hospital. So don't sit there and say that it's on both sides. But you know what? It just, whatever. It is what it is, and that's how it is. But, really, for a teenager to be killed for that, I'm sorry. There could be other ways. But you know what? Go look up cases. Go look up. There's how many cases of young black men that are shot for no reason, that are not, the police are not indicted. How would you feel if that were your kid? And how many people have to talk to their black child? No, we are not stopped like they are. We are not stopped like they are. We are given the benefit of the doubt where blacks are not. It happens.
Okay.
I've seen it.
But
so you know what?
You can't use this case
Why?
to justify it.
I can.
You have to take each case. If there were other cases,
there are other cases.
If there are other cases of which you speak of where that happened, then that is there. You cannot take this case and say, well, there are other cases where black men are killed unjustified, so we're going to take this case and we're going to take this cop to court to get our revenge. You can't do that.
Not revenge. It's the tipping point for what's happening in Missouri. They have statistics of how many blacks are stopped compared to whites, of how many people are basically harassed by the police.
This guy was
They
stopped
have a problem.
because the cop was given that description because of the strong armed
He
robbery
was
at the
stopped when he
convenience
said,
store.
go to the sidewalk. He didn't say, were you involved in a robbery? He said, get to the sidewalk.
The reason the cop was there was because of the robbery, and he saw him, and he fit the description.
So why would he
That's
tell
why
him to go
he
to the
was talking
sidewalk?
to them,
Come
to get him
on.
off the street so he could talk to him.
Oh, come on.
We'll be right back. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. And with the snow, a little dusting of snow that we have on the ground out there this morning, we could have some issues here in the next few days at some of the dairies and feedlots if they don't have a low and honey loader from Stanley and Company, because that's what they're designed for. They can load all types of manure from frozen, dry, liquid, doesn't make any difference, up to 7 miles an hour. That is fast. Now, if you just own a little acreage in the country, you probably don't have a use for a low and honey loader. But if you own a feedlot or dairy operation, you might have one, a use for one. And if you'd like to see one in operation, you can do that by getting a hold of Pat Hartzell at 280-1167, and he can fix you up so that you can see it in operation, see how it works, ask questions, kick the tires, open the doors, and critique it. And you might decide that you need one of these. So Pat Hartzell is the guy, 280-1167 with Stanley and Company. The number is 7360300. Top Story. You are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This whole scenario follows the Saul Alinsky model of radicals for revolution, and that they exploit. They've been trying to get blacks against white, and so forth for years and years. The agitators, then they demonize anybody that opposes their agenda, and of course, then they just flat lie about it. And of course, now, regardless of what the grand jury says, and they found, with hours and hours of testimony, there's blacks and whites on the grand jury, they won't accept the rule of law. And of course, the whole scenario, they bring in the Black Panthers, the Communist Party, and they're agitating. Why didn't the governor, Jill, bring in the National Guard to prevent the destruction of those 25? But I understand Valerie Jarrett was in contact with Governor Nixon. And for some reason, they stood down and allowed the burning to happen. So can she explain that? You've got to accept the rule of law. You've got to accept the rule of law. And the grand jury did not find enough evidence to go on with a trial.
But you don't have to agree with it, and you don't have to like it. You might have to accept it, but you don't have to like it, and it's case after case after case after case. So you know what? You don't have to like it.
7360300. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Ferguson thing as well. They sit there and talk about you have to accept the rule of law, you have to accept the rule of law, and I agree with you. But the issue is not the rule of law. The issue is why did Darren Wilson choose to pick Michael Brown out and call and have him come over to his car? Why did he say, that's a black kid, he's a black kid, the guy in the store who robbed somebody was a black kid, I'm going to come check out Michael Brown? If he had never asked Michael Brown to come near his car, to get out of the middle of the street, he just would have left him alone, not racial profile, like so many officers are doing these days, then this whole issue would not have happened. There would be no shooting. There would be no death of another black male. That's the issue. People are missing that. It's not about the grand jury. It's not about the results that happened afterwards. It's about the thing that started this whole entire Ferguson mess in the beginning. It's the racial profiling that's the problem. It's not what the grand jury said.
So the reason
grand jury got it right.
The reason the cop went over there and called Michael Brown was because he fit the description of the strong-armed robbery at the convenience store.
And what was that description?
It was one that fit Michael Brown.
It was a black male of that height. So he's going to say, okay, I'm driving down the street in a black neighborhood, and I see a black male, same height. I'm going to come and talk to this one. Why? He had no problem. You want to talk about probable cause?
So where would you start then? Where would you start? They're all going to be black there probably. So he's going to go there and say, "Oh, I don't want a racial profile, so I'm not going to ask any of these black guys."
My point is, he did not have a reason. He had no reason.
He did. He fit the description of the strong-armed robbery.
He said he told him to get off onto the sidewalk. He didn't say, were you guys involved in a robbery?
So you got somebody walking down the middle of the street who's not supposed to be there. So the cop's not supposed to ask him to get off of the street?
How many times do you see white children in their neighborhood playing, walking down the middle of the street, riding the bikes down the middle of the street? If there's an armed robbery at the 7-Eleven just outside of their neighborhood, and there was a white child that was the suspect, and a police officer was driving down that neighborhood, I promise you, he would not get that child and assume that child was the one that pulled somebody over.
I disagree. If he fit the description, I do not see that. I have seen white people walking down the middle of the street. I have a police scanner with me. I heard them call it in and say there's a white person walking down the middle of the street on Kimberly Road. They went and got him off. I mean, for crying out loud, walking down the middle of the street, you can't do that. First of all, you might get killed. Secondly, it's against the law. It's for vehicles. This is ludicrous. This is crazy. What? You're not supposed to go and talk to anybody because they fit the description of a strong-armed robbery or they're doing something illegal? You're not supposed to talk to it because it's a white cop and a African-American person? This is ludicrous. This is ridiculous. The cop did his job. He was doing what he was asked to do. He's doing what he gets paid for, and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the people in Ferguson, many of them, they don't want justice. They want revenge, and that's what they're getting. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. And I don't think anybody's irrigating right now, are they?
I can't imagine.
No, I don't think farmers
If you are, you've got problems.
because the water's not in the canals or anything like that. But here this is like December, January, February, so like a little over 3 months away, we're going to be irrigating. And you might want, if you're looking into changing or your current irrigation method or improving it, ask Far More of Idaho about Certiset. I'll tell you what, this is new technology is really overtaking agriculture. They've got a new system now where you don't have to move the pipe. It's a big, long, flexible pipe that goes out in your field. You can move it around with your equipment that has an attachment on it. When the alfalfa is ready to bloom, you can move in right then, and you can work the hay. You don't have to pull the pipe out. It's just quite a system, and I don't know a lot about it, but I know who does. The folks at Far More of Idaho, 324-3341. Let them fill you in on this. They are the experts in this stuff. And ask them about Certiset and tell them that Kelly and Jill sent you, okay? 7360300. Good morning. You're on Top Story.
Good morning.
Good morning. There's a certain group of people that really benefit from us actually arguing over race and everything else and keeping us divided, and that's government as a whole. And that's the only way they can keep the control that they got right now, and people just ignore other issues.
Okay, I guess I'm not following.
No,
They're
What do you
creating
mean
a divide.
government?
I follow
They
you.
are creating a divide.
I
All
follow
of
you.
them.
There
All
has
of them
been
are
a
creating
divide.
a divide.
Well,
Obama, Republicans, all of them. And that's the only way they can do this. And they're like, look at this hand. Argue over this. Why we do this.
Well, do you not think it's valid?
Do I not think it's valid?
I mean, do you not think there's issues?
I was in New Orleans getting ready to ship out for Iraq. And me and my friends were walking. We all were service members. We were walking down a certain way. A black cop walked up and said, where are you guys going? And we said, well, we're going to go around this way and go back onto Bourbon Street. And they said, if you walk that way, this is a cop. If you walk that way, they're going to kill you just because you're white.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what he told us. We had to go back the way we came.
Okay,
Yeah.
and how many times are blacks just stopped constantly just because they're black or driving or whatever? It happens all the time. So, you know what? It's the tipping point here. And instead of just saying there aren't any problems, there are problems, and you can see it all the time.
Yeah, there are. It's even worse when it's getting exacerbated as much as it is. I mean, people keep raising the issue more than what it is. How many times can we argue this issue?
Well, let's fix the issue. How's that?
How's
Let's
we
try
gonna fix the
to
issue? That's like
work at
saying
it.
Drunk drivers. That's like saying drunk drivers. We can fix the issue. You're not going to, because people are people.
Yeah, it's
What
like
does
fixing
that mean?
poverty.
No.
he's
I
right.
mean, when
He's
you
absolutely right.
have Ferguson, Missouri, who has what, like 20,000 people there? That's all it is, like 20,000 people. You have 53 police officers and 3 are black. Don't you think it should be a little bit more even? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, this is what you're dealing with. Have something that represents the community. Even, I think it was Michael Brown's grandfather said that when he and his buddies drive across town at night, they get stopped constantly. Oh, there's a taillight out or whatever the thing is. You know what? It happens, and I've said this many times. The 2 African-American attorneys that worked at Reebok were stopped constantly in Boston because they were driving nice cars. Just stopped. So you know what? We have no idea what it's like to live in their shoes, and we do have a big problem. And just to say, oh, they shouldn't be upset. You know what? It's happening every day in their life. You're sick of hearing it. Can you imagine what they have to deal with every day?
But that doesn't mean you have to indict a police officer who's doing his job when he kills somebody who's trying to attack him.
You know what?
You can't make him the scapegoat of all these
I don't
problems.
think he's the scapegoat, and I think that
That's
you know
what the people who are rioting would like to make him. Jill.
They would just
scapegoat.
like some justice. They would just have liked a trial.
At
They
this
would
point,
just like
they're wanting
a
revenge.
trial.
They're wanting revenge on Darren Wilson.
And it
That's
happens
what they want.
constantly.
It's
They would like
revenge.
one policeman to be
Justice
indicted for
is
killing a
not
black
in their
man.
vocabulary.
Yes, it is.
No,
They would
it's
like
not.
it.
No,
They would like
no.
justice.
7360300. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you today?
Doing well.
Oh, we're
thanks.
great. How are you?
Oh, no, I don't know if it sounds that way or not. You know, people have a mindset. They're born and they're raised with a mindset in the area where they live. and that mindset takes over everything that they do. And that's what's happening in this area. The area that this is happening is that these people have a mindset. If they don't like America, why don't they go somewhere else?
It's not that they don't like America. Their mindset is, look, at the police isn't their friend. They're harassed every day. We have no idea what that's like. So you know what? They feel like they're at war with the police because that's how the police treat them.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to change subjects now. We got Randy Staples up next with the Idaho political update here on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX. 7360300 is the number to call. Welcome back to Top Story. Coming up at 9:20 today, we have Chris Anderson from the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium. We're going to find out what your future is in the stars.
Yes, call in for his astrological sign. Please do that. He will lose his mind. His head will explode into an asteroid.
If nothing else, we may find out. Speaking of asteroids, what ones are going to kill us this week?
What's going to blow?
He's always interesting. Always got good stuff to talk about.
Oh, I know it. I know.
Right now, though, we have Randy Staples with the Idaho political update. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Randy.
Good morning.
Well, it looks like everybody thought the election was over, but it really wasn't until. I say, are they still haggling over that? They made one decision in a recount in North Idaho. What was that?
That was that probably puts to rest the last of the decisions in Idaho, at least. Although there's still a few decisions straggling in around the country in various places. That one was up in Lewiston. That was there were two legislative contests that were closer than any other in the state, and they were both in the same district, in the Lewiston and Nez Perce and Lewis County District, District 6. Both of the House seats. One involved an incumbent Republican and one an incumbent Democrat. The incumbent Democrat was, in the unofficial vote, was ahead by 48 votes, and the incumbent Republican was ahead by 26, which is, in the context of a state legislative race in Idaho, very, very close. That's pretty razor close. The Republican who was challenging the Democrat, who had 48 votes to make up, decided against trying to do that. It would have involved paying for or risking payment for the election, and decided that was probably just a little bit too far to make up. The Republican incumbent, Vyra Stevenson, decided that she would give it a shot, with the votes being only 26. But what wound up happening was that she only gained one vote.
Wow!
And so it took it down to 25, which is a little bit better in some ways than most recounts do, because most of the time recounts add to the kind of pad the winners margin a little bit.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happens?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Why do you think that happens, that it usually pads the winners? I mean, if it's a recount, why would it normally do that?
It's unclear, but it usually, statistically, it ought to go about half and half either way, but usually I see them adding just a few votes to the winners. Nothing very dramatic. Most of the time it's not very dramatic at all, but there are very few occasions here or there which it can matter. It's not as though they're always an exercise of futility, but a lot of the time they are.
Is it very expensive to go for a recount? How does that work?
Well, you have to when a candidate pays for that, they have to pay by the precinct, and this was in Stevenson's case. This was 33 precincts. It's several $100s. So in this case, it was a few $1,000s to get that recount done.
Oh, wow.
So it's not really cheap. Now, if you have the money in your campaign finance, in your campaign treasury left over, it may make some sense. And if you can get your party to chip in.
Would that be valid use of campaign funds?
Yeah, it can be done for a purpose like that.
Okay.
That's not unusual. And parties sometimes contribute too. There was a spectacular case 10 years ago in Washington State where governor's race went to a recount that was amazingly close, and the recount there, which cost close to $1 million, was paid for by the Democratic Party. Although they ultimately got a refund because that was an odd case where a recount actually did change the result.
Interesting. So when they change the result, then they don't have to pay. If it doesn't change the result, they got to pay.
That's generally the case. Yeah.
Okay.
That's generally the case.
All
So you're
right.
you're gambling.
Yeah.
is what you're doing.
Just as well go to jackpot.
So the Dems did gain a seat. There we go.
Well, they had already gained it. All this did was kind of confirm. Well, it didn't confirm it. They still got they won by a small margin. Isn't that right? Because they had already counted that as a win for the Democrats.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was already the case. That was the unofficial votes are almost that you see on election night are almost always just fine. There are very few cases. I can think of one case that it involved a Magic Valley person, in which the canvass changed the vote. There was a vote for Republican nomination for state auditor back in I think around 1982. And there was a state senator from Burley named Dean Van Engelen who was running for that office, appeared on election night to have clearly won it, was ahead by a significant number of votes. And then when the state canvass took a look at the votes, it found that there were some bad totals. That number of votes had been mistotaled in several places.
I'll be darned.
And he wound up losing that primary race.
I'll be darned. I don't remember hearing about that. That's
amazing when you can't count, huh?
It's very rare that happens because you have a number of eyes looking over it.
Yeah.
It's very unusual, but that was an incident indicating that it can happen.
So now we've got former Idaho Senator Larry Craig, who is appealing the decision to have to pay $242,000 under a federal judge's order. If he loses this appeal, is he done, or can he continue to go?
Well, he can presumably appeal to the Court of Appeals, and spend still more money. He's been his case has not been granted cert, as they say, has not been approved to even for consideration by the Supreme Court. So presumably it cannot get as far as that. But I would think that a Court of Appeals would be the last shot that he could take. But you have to wonder after a while. His track record on this case has not been very good, and you have to wonder about, in a case especially where a lot of it has to do with legal costs to begin with, the wisdom of chasing more legal costs after more legal costs.
Because we heard, did you tell me, Cal, he's spent $80,000 so far? Have you heard that, Randy?
It's probably something like that.
I mean, why not just pay the fine? And how can you actually, first of all, it's been 7 years now.
Well, he not only would have to pay the fine, but he has to pay the money back, which is what, It's what,
no, it's 242. Just put your money towards that.
Does that not include the fine? I think
the grand total is approaching $500,000.
Ah, okay.
Right, but I mean, the money he's wasting in attorney's fees, $80,000, you could pay this off already. But I mean, it's been 7 years. It comes up every time. Now he's appointed. Now he brings it up again. Does he not have a PR person to just say, "Look at Larry, pay it," and stop bringing it up in the headlines? I mean, I don't know how you can justify a sex sting in Minneapolis being part of your job, official job. I don't understand. What is wrong with him?
Well, and if you're looking at trying to start up and try to get going again in some way in Republican politics, which he's trying to do as finance chairman for the Idaho Republican, it would seem to me that the first thing to do, that there would be some Republicans out there who would be saying, well, heal yourself first.
Yeah.
Get this taken care of. Get your legal slate clean, so that you're starting from scratch. Among other things, presumably he's going to have to do fundraising of some sort or another for himself. And if I were a Republican concerned about fundraising for the party, I would be asking the question: well, is there some risk of slop over here? Is he raising money for the party, or for his own legal expenses, or what's the whole story?
Or how many people would not give to the Republican Party because he is the finance chairman based on what he's guilty of doing?
I mean,
well, there's also that, yeah.
And
absolutely.
his judgment to think that that's appropriate use of campaign funds. I mean, 7 years now. It's like, my gosh, just pay it and go on with your life. And to keep bringing it up, in the headlines, for a PR point of view is ridiculous. But secondly, to even actually think that he has a case is ridiculous.
Really, from a PR point of view, he should have, well, of course, really, he shouldn't have done it to begin with. But
which part? The bathroom sting?
Well,
soliciting sex in a bathroom?
From
Yeah,
our point of view, certainly any of it. But,
you're right, Randy. He shouldn't have done that.
Right from the beginning, the object should have been to get this thing gone as soon as possible. Yeah. And the other thing is that with all of these legal cases that have gone on, appeals are not cheap. Pursuing a complex legal case through federal court is not a cheap proposition, and these bills have been piling up.
I know. Just take the money he's spending now, pay it off, and go on with your life. Someone needs to tell him that other than me, because I'm a Democrat, and obviously he's not listening. Randy, someone has to tell him. It's ridiculous.
I have to imagine there are Republicans telling him that, too.
That's what I'm thinking.
And something's wrong with him for not listening.
Okay. So on another subject, that we had this deal a while back with the U.S. Forest Service wanting to restrict and charge people who wanted to film and do photography in the forest. I know this was like for companies and for profit. What is the latest on that?
Well, the Forest Service chief seems to has said with what sounds like pretty good clarity that the idea was never to require that most people have to obtain a permit or pay a fee for doing this kind of thing. That they were aiming it at large commercial operations such as a commercial filming of a commercial of an ad or a movie or something like that, where there might be some costs that the Forest Service might have to pick up in terms of helping to manage that. If it's that limited, then I don't think there's going to be that much opposition to it, but it doesn't sound as if that interpretation is totally clear yet. The way the rule is written, it can be interpreted in a few different ways, and it has been interpreted in different ways at the local level. So I think this could be one of those cases where you have a very large bureaucracy, and what people at the top are saying is one thing, and some of the people at other levels are interpreting in different ways.
So in other words, if a person like me went out with my camera one day and took some pictures and posted them online, and somebody said, hey, I really like that one, can I buy it from you? Then would I be in violation of the Forest Service rule?
According to the Forest Service chief, no, you would not. There would be no problem with something like that.
But if somebody locally decided that I was, then it would cost me a lot of money in court to prove that I was innocent.
Well, that's the possibility, and that's what I think. I think that people ought to be asking of people at the intermediate level, at the forest supervisor level, and even the ranger level, for some clarification. They ought to be asking for specific statements from the national forests.
Has anyone been prevented at this point, Randy, or it just hasn't gone into effect yet, so people are just doing business as usual?
Hasn't gone into effect yet. At least this rule is not. Although the rule that's been in place theoretically could have allowed for some of that, and there have been people who have paid large fees, and up to this point, even some journalists have been asked for large fees in Idaho and in the Northwest.
I mean,
so it's not entirely new.
I mean, I can understand a commercial venture, like if you damage stuff or things like that, because there's a lot of equipment that goes into filming, and I mean, I can understand that. It doesn't seem that crazy. I think they just have to clarify it more.
Right. There ought to be a clear distinction between large equipment and large operations that could cause either damage or extra cost on to the Forest Service. That's kind of a special case, as opposed to individual people just taking their cameras along and snapping pictures.
Right.
All right. Well, Randy, we're out of time once again, so until next Monday, have a great week.
You too.
All
Bye,
right.
Randy.
Appreciate you being on. That's Randy Staples from Reidenbaugh Press at reidenbaugh.com. You can subscribe to his weekly update or hear him each week right here on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX. And we're back, 7360300, always the number to call. Welcome back, Jill.
Thank you, Cal. Same to you.
I just wanted to, first of all, it's 33, got a little snow on the ground. It'd be nice if we had some snowfall this winter, to help the snowpack and such.
Haven't we? We haven't had too much.
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, it was a couple weekends ago. We had some snow.
I know, but we haven't had, snow.
Oh, we haven't had 9 feet like Buffalo.
Right. That's right. Or even 9
But we
inches.
did have those 15 inches back in the 70s. That, it was equal. Don't worry. It's the same.
I'm just saying.
What happened to poor Buffalo? I kind of lost track of what happened to those poor people.
I did too. I think they kind of...
Was it a river?
I think they washed away down the river or something.
All the roofs collapsed and they washed away, and Buffalo no longer exists.
After getting 80 inches of snow and then 60-degree temperatures and rain. Holy cow.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my gosh, those poor people.
I don't know if we have not heard any update yet on the accident at milepost 179 on I-84.
Maybe our listener could let us know.
Maybe somebody is caught there.
I know.
Maybe our truck driver friend who had been stuck there for 2 hours. He called it about 8:15.
Poor guy.
Had been stuck there on the eastbound lanes for 2 hours as the road was blocked due to an accident. And I just checked my email. The state police are very good about sending out updates, and I didn't see one yet. So, you know what? The phone's ringing. I'll bet that's an update. That's an update. Top story. Good morning.
Yeah, this is your truck driving friend, traffic report. Yeah, they opened up the interstate about 20 minutes ago.
Okay, right. So you're driving now.
Yes, I am driving now.
Back to work, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for letting us know. Be careful out there.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, see ya. All right, there you go. So okay, well, I can toss this then. So the interstate is back open again.
Thank you, our lovely listeners who always let us know.
That's right. Also, kind of on that same note, Idaho State Police troopers say they have issued more speeding tickets since they increased to 80 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah. Now, here's the deal.
To help pay for the signs?
You used to could go. They didn't really bother you if you were up around 79 in the 75 mile an hour zone. Okay, you could go 79 and maybe push that a little bit, and I don't think anybody really bothers. In fact, I think maybe wasn't 82 the magic number. I don't know, but at any rate, and now the speed limit's 80.
See, they ruined it for everyone.
And if you're going 80 and a half, you get nailed.
I think they said 81.
I think he did.
Didn't Keith say 81?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
So now you've ruined it for everyone. You moved it up. Now you can't go 85, and maybe this is the way to pay for all the signs they had to upgrade.
7360300. Good morning. You're on Top Story.
Good morning.
Morning. I'm just going to give you another report. I'm still sitting out here.
What?
So I think they're just maybe letting a few through at a time. But I'm still sitting back here. So.
Where are you?
Sure that you didn't fall asleep and,
Oh, yeah.
What mile marker are you?
Well, I'm about 3 miles off of the off-ramp from Twin Falls.
So that's 173. So you'd be about 176 then, and the accident was at 179. So you're about 3 miles away from the accident.
Yeah, we're still sitting. So I think letting a few through, but still sitting.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, at least.
So now I'm really confused.
Some are sitting, some are moving. Well, maybe it just takes a while to get all the backlash.
If you got a 3 mile line.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while.
Sorry, buddy.
All right. 7360300. Good morning. You're on Top Story.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, doing good.
Good. Hey, I missed your party, but I wish you all the well and good luck and best wishes with everything you're going to do there.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that was nice.
And I just wanted to ask, whatever happened to that coach that got more money than what he was supposed to or whatever? Did that ever get...
No, he's still got the money, and he's spending it, and that's kind of just, one of those things
he got a job
that
right away.
Goes away. So,
No, he's been coaching. He got a coaching job right away.
But there's that. I mean, it's a done deal, and he got the money. And
but we also CSI paid him twice, so he's got a job. They had to pay him. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I want to get a job like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? If we just held people accountable, we wouldn't have to worry about this Republican-Democrat thing. You know,
You're right.
It's just I hate the arguing back and forth about, you know, and we classify all Republicans one way and all Democrats that one way, and that's nowhere near close to the reality of who people are and how they think. You know, and it's a shame that we've come this far and
I know.
Have nothing but chaos and no accountability. It's disgusting.
I agree.
Well, there was an election, but it didn't seem to matter.
Anyhow.
Anywho.
One thing.
Kelly, tell him how many tickets. Tell him how many tickets the difference was.
Okay. Police wrote 2,066 speeding tickets on I-84 between July 24th and November 13th. That is up nearly 20% from the same period in 2013 when they wrote 1,731 speeding tickets.
Wow, how much money do you think that is? Way to go.
Yeah. So they raised the speed limit from 75 to 80. But it's typical. It's kind of like the people who can't be on time getting to work at 8 o'clock. So you say, okay, well, be here at 8:15, you know. And then they start showing up at 8:20 and 8:30. It's the same with speed limits. As you say, you can drive 75. People are going to drive 80.
I just don't know what if
you raise the limit to 80,
was.
People are going to want to drive 85. You know, they cannot be held to that
But
standard.
The cops are saying it's 81.
That's right. So if you're going 81 in an 80 zone, you're going to get nailed.
But it was a huge rush to pass that. And hey, we haven't talked about today's Cyber Monday.
I know.
Cyber Monday, people. Are you ordering things online? They're having deals everywhere.
Yes, they are. Here's one. I got a list of stuff. Some of them are pretty good deals. Others are not. If you're looking to buy a good set of Klipsch headphones with inline control plus a mic, they were $50. Now they're $14.99.
That's a good deal.
That's a pretty good deal.
And free shipping. They're 70% off. Are those good?
Here's one. iCreation Bluetooth handset iPhone dock. It was $249.99. Now it's $49.99.
Free shipping.
That's 80% off. That's pretty darn good.
And free shipping.
And I don't know where these are because I got this off of a website. They just went out to see what the deals were.
Well, just Google the product and then you'll find it.
So some of them are pretty. Here's 74% off remote control helicopters with free shipping. They were $69.99. Now they're $17.99. That's a heck of a deal.
That's amazing.
70% off IT luggage. Sacramento 22-inch carry-on spinner was to whatever that is, $200. Now it's $59.
Oh, because then they can spin around. It goes in all the directions.
I see.
Which is awesome. Free shipping.
That's important.
It is important. Yeah, I love that.
Some of them weren't so great, I noticed.
Well, here's Dogs Women's DAWGS Women's 9-inch cozy boots, assorted colors, free shipping, 76% off. Ladies, they were $80. Now they're $19. That is a good bargain.
Yeah. See,
These are awesome.
Here's like $20 off Asus 15 6/10-inch laptop. It was $249.99. Now it's $229.99. Now for a Cyber Monday, that's not a big deal.
That's not a big deal. And I have Asus, and I love it, though.
They're wasting our time
on that one. And free shipping.
Yeah, here's pretty good. Well, let's see. 28% off a Toshiba Chromebook was $279.99. Now it's $199. That's a little better of a deal. So there are some deals to be had out there, and there are some others that, anytime there's anything off, I suppose it's a good deal. So today's your day, Cyber. Maybe that's why the internet was real jerky and slow on me this morning. Everybody's online buying Christmas presents.
And today was the day mine worked fine.
Well, of course.
Of course. I'm always the opposite.
Let's see what we got here.
Ridiculous.
7360300. Top story. You are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly and Jill.
Well,
Kyle,
good morning.
are you driving or are you stopped?
Oh, I'm driving.
Okay.
I'm driving and loaded down with a tractor. So, anyway, this speed limit thing. it's been kind of weird because yesterday I was driving the Twin. I had my cruise control set to 80, and I had people from Utah passing me like I was ill.
Oh, well, hey, I have something to announce on that. People from Utah, they don't have to follow the rules in Idaho.
Well,
Didn't you know
police.
that? Didn't you know that?
Well, these are the same people that like passing you and then pulling in front of you and hitting their brakes when you weigh 80,000 pounds and they only weigh 1,300 pounds.
Well, sure, but I repeat, the people from Utah don't have to follow Idaho rules. That's a rule.
Where are the cops? Come on, they can arrest them. Let's make some money off the Utah drivers.
I would like to know how many of those tickets that they wrote are for Utah drivers.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. To make a little money off of Utah.
I had a cop tell me one time that he pulled over a lady from Utah, and this was when it was still 75. She said, "I can't believe you pulled me over. I had my cruise control set at 85."
What?
And she couldn't understand why he pulled her over.
Really?
Apparently, there's a myth in Utah that in Idaho they let you go 10 miles an hour over the speed limit before they pull you over, and that is not true. It's especially true now. In fact, now you can't even go 1 mile an hour over. They'll pull you over. Top story, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanksgiving, I went down to Utah. Yeah, the Idaho State Police were pulling them over like crazy.
Were they?
The Utahns?
Oh, yeah. They were going like 90, 95, 100.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that's okay. We can use some of that Utah money.
Hey, Kelly, I was down there, and you're talking about Utah. You know, at a red light, you're supposed to stop, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I stopped at the red light, but they were going right through it. Past me.
Sir.
And they were going, "What are you stopping for?"
On a red light.
At a red light.
Oh, my goodness.
What's wrong
That's
with those people? Hey, you know what? Let's make some money off of them.
You do know that in Idaho, unless they are marked, and we do have some intersections in Twin Falls that are marked, when you pull up to a red light and you're in the right lane and you're turning right, if there's nobody coming, you can turn right and go. It's my understanding that not all states are that way.
Don't you have to stop first?
You have to stop first.
Yeah, you have to stop first. You can't just go.
Right, you have to stop first, but if there's nobody coming, then you can turn right and go.
Right on red, but you have to stop.
Yeah. But I understand it's not that way in all states. So.
But I think it's marked. I mean, there's usually a sign right on red, but you have to stop.
Stop on red, yeah.
But, I mean, okay, so they're going fast. Well, pull them over. Come on, state police. What are you doing?
Well...
Come on.
They're probably doing what they can with what they have.
Get them all over. Just boom, boom, boom. Press hard. 3 copies. That's like...
I don't know. I think they have those fast little receipt printers now.
Do they?
That I don't know if they have to make out
you
the old-fashioned tickets.
Has anyone gotten a ticket lately?
I know
Let
Twin
us
Falls
know.
City Police have that. I'm just assuming that state police had it, but I could be wrong.
Who's gotten a ticket lately? Let us know. Do you have to write?
We got time for one more call. Top story.
on.
You're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, I'd like to know if I can touch on that Ferguson, what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri.
You got about 10 seconds.
Quick.
Go ahead and touch.
Okay, I was going to touch this real quick. I don't think it's just about racial. I think it's a lot about economics. This country is hurting, and they don't tell us about how bad some of these people are doing as far as the economics in this country.
Well, that may be, but that doesn't give them an excuse to do what they did. So, at any rate, we got Chris Anderson coming up next from CSI, so it's going to be fun. We're going to find out the latest on those things out there that want to hit us.
That's right.
What do they call those?
Asteroids?
Asteroids. That's what I was thinking of. 7360300 is the number to call this morning on Top Story, and welcome back. And Friday's $100 instant winning name is Melvin Saylor.
Melvin Saylor, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today, which is brought to you by the folks at the Happy Landing Restaurant, which is one of my favorite places to eat, which is at the Twin Falls Airport. You don't have to be going or coming from anywhere to eat at the Happy Landing Restaurant. And they have homemade food. I mean, it's home-cooked stuff, you know? They don't buy a lot of it in bulk and then just, open the plastic container and dish it out.
And then are they still doing their pie special?
Yes, they are. If you haven't eaten there before, and you tell them that you heard about it with Kelly and Jill, and you purchase a drink or a meal, they'll give you a free piece of pie. Homemade pie.
This is Kelly's. I swear this is your marketing deal altogether.
This is pie that people drive a lot of miles to eat.
Or fly to get.
Or fly to get. That's right. They're flying from all over the world to get this
stuff. Just to get pie.
That's a Happy Landing Restaurant at the Twin Falls Airport. Now, Today's word is candy.
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 So go to our website at newsradio1310.com, click on Word of the Day, type in candy.
Candy.
Listen tomorrow, and if you hear your name tomorrow and you played the word today, you win $100.
And also, we're picking our lunch, our winner's lunch. We have Chris Anderson here
That's
right
right.
now, and we got the box, so you're going to be able to do it. You did it a few times, haven't you, Chris?
I guess I better turn up your mic, but
Plus
officially we got to do this. It's never officially Chris Anderson from the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium until we play the theme song.
Why is Chris so special that his theme song hasn't been bumped
I don't
like
know.
everyone else's?
It's still there. It's still there. I don't know
What do you
why.
have on Kelly?
and so far Paramount hasn't demanded any royalties on that.
Oh, we pay our fees, believe me.
We're paying out the wazoo for you. I hope you feel special.
I do feel special.
Well, I know you sent me the talking points here, and they're still on my phone, but tell us what's going on at CSI.
Well, at the Herod Center, we've got 3 holiday planetarium shows. 2 of which are brand new. So, if you saw the one we had last year called Let It Snow, that was our first entertainment show with the new theater technology, and that one is a music entertainment show with sort of Christmas classics and visuals. That one will be back. But we also have 2 additional planetarium programs. One is called The Longest Night, A Winter's Tale, and technically, it's not a Christmas show per se. It's more of a seasonal program, and that for that reason, it'll actually run past the holidays. But it's kind of an original folk tale done with characters where the actors are actually in these complete head-to-toe outfits, so they with character faces, and it's really well done. You can tell they're a very professional troupe that did this, but it's also combined with sort of CGI, so that you are there with the characters. You're inside the little cabin with the snow outside and the candle in the window, and it's very immersive and it's very cool, and it's a nice sort of a hero quest kind of story, great for kids, families, adults.
The closest thing we're going to get to Tron, where we're put into a video game. Is that what
well,
this
except
is?
that this is very much sort of an old world sort of story. I mean, it looks like it was probably one. It's written as though it were sort of a Middle Ages tale, although it's a modern tale written. But yeah, like I say, it's very unique. It's very different, and you definitely have to check that out. And then the other one we have is very much the traditional Star of Bethlehem type show, talking about what the Star of Bethlehem may have been, astronomically speaking. And you've seen shows like this before at the Herod Center, but of course this is the first year we've had it with the new technology to have a show about the Christmas star.
So how much better do they look now?
Well, it's again, it's immersive. I mean, you're completely surrounded by the scenery and the characters, and it is a completely different production from the ones we've had before as well. So the music is different, and the narration is different, and the story is the way they approach the story is just a little bit different from what.
So it isn't the exact same thing.
Yeah, no.
So
if you've seen our Christmas Star show before, or Season of Light show in previous years with the old technology, this is a new, different show. Similar, subject matter, but definitely a different new program.
One of the things on my bucket list when I retire is to take my grandkids and go to some of these shows.
Well, yeah.
You have to wait till you retire to do this?
Yeah, I do.
Because you do have shows on the weekends, right, Chris?
Oh, yeah. In fact, right now, in fact, we've got, we're on our sort of normal schedule of 2 shows on Tuesday evenings, 2 shows on Friday evenings, and then 6 shows on Saturday. But once we get closer to the holidays, between December 21st and Christmas, we'll have extra shows. So if you've got family in town and you want to show off, one of the nice things about our community here, one of the things we've got, bring them to the planetarium shows. I should also mention, for those who are feeling a little Scrooge-ish and not in the Christmas mood, we actually do have 2 non-Christmas programs for you Scrooges out there. So so Tuesday nights at 8, the Sea Monsters IMAX movie, which is very good. If you haven't seen that, that's extremely well. It's National Geographic production. And then on Saturdays at 4:30 is the Flight of the Butterfly show about the migration of the monarch butterflies. So I'll
have to tell the Jew crew.
Yeah.
There's a show for us we can go to.
Well, and actually, Longest Night has no specific Christmas elements in it.
Okay,
it is very much just about the fact that this is the darkest time of the year and the coldest time of the year, and like I say, it's kind of a hero quest tale, but it really is not a
Is it just what is it? Are they?
It's like I say, it's characters in it's actors in full
so they're live actors, not animation. It's actors.
Right? Yeah, but it's combined with CGI, so the environments they're in are CGI and they're all around you. So it's very cool, and the music in it is excellent. The story is well done. It's it's a professional puppet troupe that's actually done it, and they include not just the full costumes with their faces, character faces, but also
736-0300 is the number to call here on
Top
Top
Story. Why are we here? We can have Chris Anderson answer that.
And we'll be right back with Chris Anderson.
Don't do existential.
How do we know we're here?
Well, I'll tell you what. I know why Clearwater Power Equipment is here, because they have Husqvarna and Echo chainsaws. And with the snow falling out there, I just know a lot of people got caught red-handed because they didn't get enough firewood for the winter. And it looks like it might turn out to be kind of a cold, snowy winter here in our area.
We could only hope.
Yeah. So you're trying to do that firewood cutting with that old, worn-out chainsaw you've got. You've been told several times you need to get rid of it and get a new one. Here's your chance. The folks at Clearwater Power Equipment have that stuff. And they're in sales and service. They don't sell other stuff. They just sell power equipment. So they know what they're talking about. Stop by and see them. Tell them that Kelly and Jill sent you at 252 Washington Street. You know where that's at. It's where General Building Supply was for years. Or give them a call at 734-7767. And if you still got your lawnmower sitting out in the front yard getting rained and snowed on because you don't have a place to put it, they've got a storage program too. So ask them about that. That's Clearwater Power Equipment, 252 Washington Street. All right, Chris Anderson is with us from the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium. What else is coming up, Chris?
I should mention this week, Wednesday, in fact, is the Herod Forum. And this is sort of an annual tradition now. The Herod Forum, of course, has speakers and lecturers from all different disciplines, but every December we have the same lecturer back because he's so popular. It's Del Parkinson who teaches piano at Boise State, and he'll be giving his annual piano performance and lecture called Preludes and Pictures. You know, some of these in the past that's more suggestive of what they are, so I'm kind of curious to see what this one is. You know, last year it was Chopin, I think, but yeah, Preludes and Pictures. I don't know, but it's always good. It's always good. So
it's at 7:30.
7:30 on Wednesday. Yep, and it's free. You can't beat that.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
You guys aren't, you know, actually, if you charged a wee bit, maybe more people would come. You know how they say, like, they value it?
Well, if it's free, it must not be worth much.
Like, they used to have, like, quarter hot dog night at Toledo Mud Hens. It was packed. If you did free hot dogs, no one shows up. Go figure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why? It's like the bargain.
Some of these Herod Forums, though, they pack the place.
I'm sure they do
this
for
one
him.
Will be too,
yeah.
So, yep.
It's like, come on, would it be helpful to make something? Make a buck?
Have 25-cent hot dogs.
Yeah, there you go.
What goes better with a piano performance?
Nothing.
25-cent hot
dogs. Corn dogs. Deep fried butter. There you go. Okay,
hey,
go on.
While
Sorry.
we're talking about making money, I should point out, you know what tomorrow is, don't you?
Tuesday.
Giving it was something Thankful Tuesday. They named it.
Right now, they're of course they've been working on all these different days. There's Black Friday and there's Small Business Saturday and there's
Great
Cyber Monday.
Thursday.
And so tomorrow is now the day where you're supposed to do your charitable giving.
Kelly.
And you know, I got to thinking on the way over here today. It's like, you know, what would be a great charitable giving opportunity and something that you benefit from. A membership at the Herod Center for the whole family.
Wow!
Right,
actually,
come to see the planetarium shows and get discount prices on that, discount prices on other things too. I mean, that would be a really nice,
very
family
unique.
gift. Yeah, absolutely.
How much is it?
There's different levels of membership. You know, they're from everyone from individual up through family, and much more. You know, and basically the more you spend on the membership, the more perks you get. So there's way too many for me to go through. But
what's the most expensive one?
Oh golly! Now you would put me on this. You know, here I thought I had all
$4.50.
I thought I had everything written down, and you guys managed to stump me again.
Well, Jill's been kind of failing in her stumping thing, so now I'm taking over.
Well, I know the least expensive one is an individual membership, and that's $35. So they start at $35 and go from there.
It's a bargain.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm sure you got them online.
Absolutely. Yep. If you go to our top level webpage, right there, it'll on the right hand side, you'll see where it says information about the membership brochure.
All right.
So that's tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. Think about a donation, a tax deductible donation to the Herod Center.
That's right.
And then Del Parkinson on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Of course, our Herod Center store holiday sale is ongoing through Christmas Eve, and our store manager asked me to point out, since I always mention the jewelry, since the jewelry is so popular, she asked me to point out, it's not just jewelry. She says, we've got unique items, we've got handcrafted items, one-of-a-kinds, we've got great stocking stuffers, great educational gifts. If you're looking for something that's, a little bit more engaging for your kids' brains than just the sort of usual, fluffy stuff. There's
But like what? Like, do you have examples? Did she give you
Oh,
examples?
yeah, there's educational puzzles and toys and games
Oh,
and
okay,
things
that's
like
how
that.
you gotta promote it,
Science kits and things like that.
Oh, I never thought about that.
We also have telescopes, of course. We are the #1 dealer of Meade brand telescopes in Idaho, believe it or not.
Who knew?
Kidding.
Who knew?
Yeah, wouldn't you think it'd be in Pokey or Boise or someplace
You
like
would,
that? But
yeah.
no, we are the #1 Meade dealer. So we've got several models in stock and a wide variety of prices there. So you come check those out. And that does run up through Christmas Eve. So,
all right.
Yep.
When we come back, I don't know, did you cover everything?
Not yet.
No, we still have Telescope Tuesdays.
Hopefully we'll be able to
Star
talk
parties.
a little bit about that. Was it Pelea, that the asteroid
the
rover?
Philae. Yeah, the lander.
Philae. Yeah.
Philae
So
that hit a hole in one. And
yeah.
Now you can't see
Maybe we
it.
can do that when we come back here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story, and we have Chris Anderson with the CSI Herod Center and Planetarium. Okay, Chris, let's go through the rest of it here. Then I want to talk about what Philae is. That
Yeah, the thing I didn't mention at all was upcoming opportunities to look through the telescope, and we've got Telescope Tuesdays coming up next Tuesday, not tomorrow, but next Tuesday the 9th. And on the 23rd. So again, if you've got family in town for the holidays and you want to come, show off some of Twin Falls' good stuff, we've got
send them away for a few hours.
There's another thought. Yes, exactly. A little breather there, the day before Christmas Eve. Both of those events, Telescope Tuesdays, the observatory will be open from 6 to 9, weather permitting, of course. And there is a small fee for that. It's $1.50 a person.
Wow.
These are like Depression era prices.
Well,
yeah,
but,
like a quarter,
but even better, it's free if you come to a planetarium show on that night. See, so you can't go wrong there. And then, of course, if you're still that's still too high a price for you.
Does that include the hot dog? No, I'm kidding.
Someone's going to show up one hot dog.
I swear.
Our monthly Freestar party is on December 13th, Saturday, December 13th. That goes from 6 to midnight. You can come for as much of that time as you like. I do want to remind everybody we don't heat the observatory dome. So please dress warmly, both for your comfort and so you're not heating the room with your body heat and making us look through heat waves. That's the main reason we don't heat the room. So, so that's all my stuff.
All right. Well, now I want to talk about this Philae, the rover on the comet. Well, it's not a rover,
lander,
but it's a lander.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's the status of it right now?
All right. So as of right now, it is in a sort of a hibernation mode. Whether or not that's permanent remains to be seen. The problem is it landed in a spot after bouncing a couple times that it only gets an hour and a half of sunlight a day. And that's not enough to keep its batteries charged. So the hopes are that as the comet approaches the sun, the amount of solar energy because of the proximity to the sun will go up enough that they'll may actually be able to restart it. And I'm pretty hopeful. I mean, given that the thing survived in this sort of hibernation through space for 10 years, I think there's a reasonably good chance.
I know.
The downside is that when it does get closer to the sun, it'll actually start getting warm to the point where it will overheat. And they think there's probably going to be about a 2-month window in sort of late winter, early spring when it might be awake, alive, able to do something before the extra energy overheats it.
Would they be able to move it then at that point? Because he's kind of stuck in a crater.
That's a really
right?
good question. And the hopes are, because it never did fire the harpoons that would have anchored it to the surface, whether those can fire now. And of course, if you do fire them there's going to be a kick. Which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing if you want to try to kick out of that hole.
The last time it kicked for 2 hours and miraculously landed on the comet.
Right. Well, it wasn't so much a kick; it was just a bounce. Consider,
a bounce.
Yeah. Consider that the comet has so weak of gravity that literally a walking pace would be escape velocity. So if you were walking on the comet at a normal pace, you'd leave and never come back. That would be enough of a jump, just your normal walking pace, to cause you to leave the comet's gravity.
That is like my worst nightmare. I hate that about the universe. But no, I mean, really, they said it bounced for 2 hours, landed or 6 minutes and 2 hours or something. I mean, it was like crazy, and then it landed in a hole.
Just because of that incredibly weak gravity. So, and
it hit a hole in one.
But what an accomplishment even to get it there.
Absolutely. And, and consider that even if Philae never does wake up again, the Rosetta orbiter is still there, and it will be there for the better part of a year. As the comet approaches the sun and begins to grow a tail, they're going to get to watch all that happen with the Rosetta. In fact,
scientifically, this will be a boon.
Oh yeah, this is the first time that a comet has ever been not just visited, but actually vehicles stay there with it as it goes through its passage near the sun. I mean, this is a all new ball game. So yeah.
Hey, you did have down the winter solstice, the shortest / longest night, shortest days. Okay, so when is that again?
That is, it'll be on the 21st this year. The actual moment of the solstice, 4:03 p.m. And I know you've asked me about this in the past, Jill. What does that really mean? I mean, we usually think of it as being a day of the year, but there is actually a moment, and it is that moment at 4:03 p.m. on the 21st, when the Earth's north polar axis is tilted as far away from the sun as it will be for the entire year. There's only one moment when that
just
happens.
at that moment,
That's
and then
right.
it comes back, and then it just starts moving back.
That's right. And it's not really that the pole is moving. It's just that as the Earth goes around the sun, the pole's orientation is either pointed towards or away. So when it's pointed toward the sun, that's our summer solstice. When it's pointed away, that's our winter solstice. So.
Interesting. So there you go.
Yep.
Earliest sunset?
Yeah, it's the earliest sunset. You'd think, oh, well, gee, on the shortest day, you'd think that would be the day of earliest sunset and the day of latest sunrise.
But no, you thought wrong. You would get an F on that test.
Yep, and the reason is because there's two things going on. It's not just the tilt of the pole. It's also the fact that the Earth's orbit is not a perfect circle. And because it's not a perfect circle, there are times when it speeds up and there are times when it slows down. When it's closest to the sun, it speeds up. When it's furthest from the sun, it slows down. So now here's my trivia question for you. On which holiday is the Earth closest to the sun? Which holiday every year? Now, most people would think, oh, close to the sun, it's got to be summertime. It's got to be 4th of July, right? Actually, 4th of July is when we are furthest from the sun. We are closest to the sun right around New Year's Day.
There you go.
So our distance from the sun does not determine our seasons. In fact, it can't, because
you just blew my mind.
Well, because if they did, then we wouldn't have opposite seasons in the two different hemispheres, right? Wouldn't be opposite north and south. No, so the fact that we are closest to the sun in early January means the Earth is moving fastest in its orbit, and that has an effect on the time of sunrise and sunset as well. So it's both the tilt and the speed that causes the earliest sunset to arrive this year on 12/8. December 8th, 1 week from today, and the latest sunrise will be on January 3rd.
Okay, when we come back after the Huckabee, you're going to pick the winner's lunch. So people listen up, because Chris is going to pick it. Chris, very interesting stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here, my jaw's on the floor, I'm thinking.
Of course, that's what he's looked like lately anyway. He's about to retire.
A little bit of drool.
I think you draw up, for gosh sake.
We'll be right back after the Huckabee Report, brought to you by Waddell & Reed. You can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed. Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger are the financial advisors, and the number is 736-6563. And I'm going to do a little ad here for the Canyon Pond, and then when we come back, Chris Anderson will do us the honors and pull a winner out of the hat. There you go. See, for the free lunch with Kelly and Jill at the Canyon Crest Dining and Event Center.
This is the last one with Kelly Class.
One.
The last one.
This is the swan song, ladies and gentlemen.
The swan song for Kelly.
But I wanted to tell you, the folks at Canyon Pond are open and ready for you for Christmas. If you need to buy that special person a special something and you don't have the cash, then you can take something to Canyon Pawn and pawn it. That's what they do. It's a pawn shop. Now, you might even find something there to give them for Christmas, because they got guns and they got fishing poles and they got woodworking equipment and all this kind of stuff. They got rings, they got watches, they got gold. It's a pawn shop. They got just about everything. And they're located on Shoshone Street, right across from Will's Toyota. Canyon Pawn. They would love to have you stop by and say hi and tell them that Kelly and Jill sent you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Chris Anderson is waiting in the wings here. He's going to reach in there and pull out a name for the lunch with Kelly and Jill.
I know a lot of people entered everything.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot in this box.
Yes, there is.
Oh, one just fell
Just
out.
one.
Okay. All right, here we go. And the winner is, ladies and gentlemen, the final winner is Dennis Becker.
Dennis Becker?
How do you like that, huh?
I don't know. Dennis Becker.
Actually, it's Dennis and Cheryl Becker.
Well, I know Cheryl Becker from the public health.
I think they're related.
You think?
I think they're husband and wife or something like that.
Oh, my goodness.
So congratulations. There's no phone number, so we can't call them.
Cheryl, does she listen? She's on the show a lot of times.
I know. We've had Cheryl on the show a time or two.
Well,
so
gosh, congratulations. Our last lunch with Kelly and me, limo ride. Chris, did you even enter?
I didn't.
Wow. Thank you for the support.
What was I thinking?
Why would I want to have lunch with you guys, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'll take a free lunch. Are you kidding me? I was a graduate student once.
And a ride in the limo. It's always been fun. Well, that'll be nice.
been.
Dennis is her husband?
Dennis and
Cheryl.
Cheryl Becker. So we're looking forward to that. We'll get a hold of them then and see when a good time to go would be between now and the end of the year.
Because, nothing's happening between now and the end of the year.
There's some big holiday coming up. I don't know.
Hanukkah. It's the 16th.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
And thank you for my Hanukkah wreath. It's beautiful.
Why don't you go show it? My wife made Jill a nice little gift, a Hanukkah gift. It is a wreath.
And here, Chris, you hold it up because the video's there.
Our listeners can't see this, but it will be on video. It will be on the video.
The most important tidbit is after 6 years almost, Kelly finally gave me a Hanukkah present.
Thank
you.
Yeah, there you go.
Right
Happy Hanukkah, Jill.
It's a miracle. Hey, although it's not till 16th. I know.
We'll see you tomorrow here on Top Story. Goodbye, Jill.
Goodbye, Kel. Bye, Chris.
Bye.